Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this. Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. I hope everyone is doing good. I'm doing good here. Today we have with us my friend Denesha, and she's going to speak with us about a topic. And I find that this topic is very important. And I'm hoping that you guys will find it as important too, because it's something I struggled with, or I'm still struggling with, here and there. And yeah, I just want to talk to somebody about it. And I think she's a perfect person to talk about it, because I know she'll probably have, in the field that she is in, she'll have some experience where this is. So, Denesha, hello and welcome to the Filtered.
Thank you, my friend. I am happy to be here and I'm happy to share on this topic as well. Hi everyone. So my name is Denesha, as you all heard, and I'm a trained guidance counselor by profession, and I studied theology as well. So if you want to say theologian, sure. I am not that versed in Bible, but I know my little thing here and there. And so what I try to do is I try to mix both of them, both theology and counseling as well, when I give my perspectives. I have been in the school system for several years, not in the system anymore. I love to work with young people. I love to mentor young lives, and in general, I just love to make a positive impact on the lives of others who are coming in contact with. So I eat that for me.
Okay, well, she know that's serious because she teaches dance too. She used to teach me
God.
dance. And that she help with leading the choir and them something there. So she's not all that. There's a other side to her than just a serious part that she's telling it. And she has a YouTube channel. Can you please tell the people them what your YouTube channel is?
Oh, thank you. So my YouTube channel is the title of it is Let's Chat with Denesha, and that is a Denesha.
Okay.
Yes.
YouTuber also, so people go and look for her and follow her on her YouTube channel. So we're gonna dive right into this, because this is something that I've been dying to talk about. Well, not dying, but it's something that I've always wanted to talk about. What does validation mean? We're gonna speak about how important is the need for validation. So then, what does validation mean?
All right. So in a general sense, because I think a lot of persons use this term in different contexts. So in a general sense, validation is pretty much to prove that something is based on truth or fact, or is acceptable. So when one talks about someone being validated, it just simply means reassuring the person's emotions and actions. It is about recognition and acceptance of another feelings, sensations, behaviors, and all of that. So pretty much you're telling the other person that, listen, I understand what you're feeling, I understand your thoughts, and all of that.
So thank you so much, Denesha, for that. But why is validation so important?
As I said, with the definition, it's you actually telling individuals, that you understand where they're coming from, you understand their personal feelings and thoughts. And so and to be honest, even the most self-aware and independent person needs validation in some area of their lives. So they might have one area of their lives where they don't need this validation, but in other areas they do. So no one really wants to feel misunderstood and feel like a burden to someone else. So when validated, they feel understood, heard, and accepted. So validation is important from others and also from self, because you have what you call self-validation, which is simply accepting your own thoughts, feelings, and acknowledging your worthiness, or how important you are.
All right, so I'd asked you, why is validation important? And you did answer that. But I want to know, does not having the validation mean that you are not, because why am I going to say this is because for me, I
don't, I used to want to feel validated by others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to my detriment, because not everyone is going to validate you or appraise you or make you feel like, I don't know. Not everybody's gonna think that okay, they should. I mean, everybody's love language is different, and some persons may feel like being what is it appreciated or validated
Mm-hmm.
is important to them. Not everybody is gonna do it, and sometimes we tend to want to be validated so much by persons that if they don't, it puts us in a negative place. For me, right now, for validation, I validate my own self, and
Mm-hmm.
I also the only person I look for validation really right now at this time is my husband and my
Mm-hmm.
family. That's it. I mean, normally I would look for friends for validation or people outside of family. I want to be validated by them. But I'm looking at it and I'm saying this is it's because of people wanting to be validated. Why sometimes they include themselves or put themselves in situations because they want to get a tap on their back and say, well done, or they want something
Mm-hmm.
like that by somebody saying, whether a friend or teacher. That's how a lot of people fall into peer pressure because they want to be validated by this set of persons or they
Mm-hmm.
want to be accepted by this set of persons. Suppose now this set of persons don't accept you or don't think that you're good enough to tap on the shoulder or whatever, or it's not something that we're expecting because sometimes we have some concepts of people should validate us even when they do, because even when they don't even feel like they need to. And I have come to the thinking or understanding to say, listen, people really don't owe you that to validate you. People don't owe you to validate you. It's something that we'd
Mm-hmm.
like to happen, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
something that always happens because if it is that, all right, somebody said you win an award for something and you come and tell me your expectation is that I'm gonna say, oh my God, I'm so happy for you and I'm happy that you have done
Mm-hmm.
it. Suppose you
Mm-hmm.
come to me and say, Jade, I win this award, and I say, oh, okay, that's good. You're gonna feel like, okay, why is it that you're not happy for me? Why is it that that's the response I got and it's gonna bother you? I'm just saying it would normally bother people because it's the expectation that you're expecting that they're gonna be a certain way for you or they're gonna be happy for you. But when that does not happen, it destroys us. So does not having the validation that we expect, or does not having the validation mean that we are not enough?
Okay, you said quite a mouthful.
My God.
Just now, yeah. So I taking my time just to chew them bit by bit. So I'm going to answer your question in parts. So I would say no. It doesn't mean that you are not enough. And this question that you ask, it 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 is pretty much hinged on low self-esteem, because someone with low self-esteem would pretty much beg and need evaluation. I'm always saying evaluation. Someone who has low self-esteem will will strive on validation, wanting the
Mm-hmm.
praise from others, wanting the acceptance from others, and not looking within. And so I say it's important to have a balance. And it is very hard because our environment tends to influence the way how we look on self, right? And so I say no. It doesn't mean that you are not enough, because there is always room for validation in our lives. Whether we think we have it all together or what, there is always room for validation. It makes us feel more secure in who we are and also in our relationships within the different bonds that we tend to form. Depending on validation now from others is an issue, as we all need to strive to depend on our own validation. And let us just put, I can't talk without putting Bible in this. When Jesus was, I'm not even talking about Jesus. Let's go back to the beginning of the book in Genesis, when God created the things. What happened afterwards? He said it was good. And for me, that is validation. He was literally validating himself to say, yo, me do a good job, you saying? Me make the plants, me make the birds, I make human.
And I
It
like that. And I
was
like that
good.
point. Stick a pin. I like that. He validated himself. Nobody needed to know, come and say to him, say he did a good job, because he already know he did a good job and he did that for himself. So is it that persons know that need validations are people with low self-esteem? They're the ones that need
No,
validation.
I
Because
am
I
not.
don't have low self-esteem, but I need
I
validation. Hold on now. I need
mm-hmm,
validation, and I need validation from, all right, say I'm married. Just say I'm married. And
mm-hmm.
me put on a nice little dress. And me come, I mean, do my hair now, spend money, do my hair and nails, and present myself in front of my husband, and he doesn't even say anything. May I think about the dressing now? Because after I have done all this, you have not complimented, you're not see it, you're not saying, no, say,
And
look
have
good,
not
say,
expressed appreciation.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I express appreciation for what I've done. Now, if it is that I dress up, put on my clothes, and go out with my friends, and them do ever say, "Oh, Gloria, you look nice," it really doesn't matter to me, as long as I know when we look in the mirror, we know say me look good. It really, I mean, there was a time where me dress up, I look good, and if persons don't say, "Oh, you look nice," I'm wondering, Lord, I wonder if I look good for true. Or, and I start even questioning myself because nobody's complimenting or nobody's saying anything. God, when Jesus did all his creation and said it was good, he validated himself. He never need nobody to do that to him or for
But
him.
guess what? But guess what? Even though God knows that he is a good God, and I'm not necessarily opposing, but I'm just adding to what you say. Even though God knows that he's a good God and what he makes is perfect, there is still room for praise. There is still room for adoration because he's a God who deserves praise and glory. Not that he strives off our praise because he knows that within himself that he is all good and he doesn't need us to praise him. But
Yeah.
then there is room for it. And that's the point I am making here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we don't strive off validation, there is room for it. And you made that point.
Yeah.
Say if you were married and you put on that dress, you need your husband to appreciate you, to adore you. You understand? And you need him to say those words and to have that look to say, girl, you really look good enough. You understand? You look for that from your husband.
Right.
That doesn't mean that something is wrong with you or that you have low self-esteem. So the low self-esteem comes in play now when, even though person even tell you that you look good, you second guess it. You understand? And even
Yeah.
though you probably think that you look good, you still need, there is like a difference between needing validation and probably wanting it. So it's
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
happy and they are not
Right.
fulfilled if they don't get the praise and if they don't get the acceptance. So that is really where the difference is between the two.
That's
Jesus,
that's me.
when Jesus was baptized, remember what happened? The dove came down. Well, the Holy Spirit came in the form of a dove. And this was what he said. You are my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. I pat him, did I
Mm-hmm.
pat Jesus back there up to say, yo, you do good in me boy. You do good.
Yep.
And so it is important even for parents to validate their kids because what
Say it
they're
again.
doing is that,
Hold on, you talk too fast. You need to say it again, miss. Because
Lord God.
you're sing and you need to say it so that people can hear their parents out there, because there are some parents who don't know how to praise their kids or validate their kids with stuff. And they don't they in their eyes they're saying, yeah, but them already know. Please repeat this.
Yeah. Parents need to validate their children. Their children need to feel as if they are heard, that how they are feeling, that the parents understand how they are feeling and they understand their behaviors and actions as well. So they want to feel accepted. And when you look on the opposite of validation, when you look on the opposite of
Yes.
validation, you are looking at
Mm-hmm.
disapproval, denial. And
Mm-hmm.
when someone is not accepted, when someone is
Nah, that you got me
denied,
you
and
know.
when someone is disapproved of, what happens is you will have withdrawal. And that is why sometimes you find some kids, they don't even want to go home. That is
Yeah.
why you have some marriages where being out of the house is like the best thing ever, because
The
they
best
don't
thing.
want to be in the same environment with their significant other. And
Yep.
that's what happens. So when people are not validated, when they feel as if they're not accepted, they withdraw.
No, sir, please,
Hmm.
I want to collect some offering after this and not to blow.
Lord God, man. So, man.
Man,
Sure.
man,
You know,
you
so we
know
have to
what?
talk Bible.
Oh my God. So this getting a bit, yeah, this is reaching somewhere. But what we're gonna do right now is to take a little break and come right back in.
Shopping Assistance Jamaica takes the stress away from finding those items you can't locate or purchasing items online or locally. From searching to purchasing to delivery, Shopping Assistance makes it very easy. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or email us at shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at The Shopping Assistants, on Instagram at The Shopping Assistants JA, and on Twitter at Shopping Assist 5.
Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. We're speaking with, and I'm gonna say it, Pastor Denesha. Now,
And
she
she know
touched
I don't like that name, you know. She know me don't like it.
on. We are talking about how important is the need for validation. And we are saying, and the point that we left up, is to say how it's important for parents to validate their kids. It is so important because, as she said, people, listen, validation is so important. No matter how we think, because sometimes people say, "No, I don't know if you have ever heard this saying, Denisha, but people always say, no, I don't need people, or me don't want nobody."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lie, because no man is an island. You have to have
Exactly.
somebody. You have to always have somebody. If you're by yourself, people who tend to always say, I don't need nobody or whatever, some of them are the loneliest people,
Oh,
the
yes.
loneliest, most depressed people that you'll ever find. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the problem is that they don't feel like they need the validation sometimes, because probably they have never gotten it before. So there are sometimes, things are missing, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to even say, you know what, I have a need for this. Nobody wants to come out and say I need validation, because
Yeah.
it's you being vulnerable. Nobody wants to come out and be vulnerable to show people their weak side, or it's a weakness that I have, because I need somebody to praise me. I need somebody to, of course, after me get my degree. Listen, when I got my degree and I
Mm-hmm.
was walking on that stage and I heard people screaming,
And the
I heard people
nicest feeling
shouting
that.
on that.
What you mean?
Listen now, and I heard the president say, I heard my president, because he's the one that gave us the degree in our hands. He said, boy, it's imagine if everybody come out for you today. It was an awesome feeling to know
Mm-hmm.
that you have this kind of validity. People praising it, I'm happy for you. Imagine you're going to get your degree and not even cricket your earbuds. You're not
Yeah.
even gonna feel good about it. Nobody
Exactly.
excited about you. You need that, and that's
Yeah.
it is so. I need validation. I need validation from. All right, for me, it is people who are important to me that I need validation from. You see,
Mm-hmm.
because if it is that you expect praises and celebration from everybody, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
You're going to want it and you're not going to get it, and it's going to put you in a space sometime where you feel down and you start get depressed because them never do it. So I only need that validation from persons who I deem important to me. If you're
Mm-hmm.
important to me and I come and say, hey, then, say I win a Ludo tournament, I know why you say, what a Ludo that, or whatever. I want you to be happy for me. Whether it is
Exactly.
Ludo, whether it is chess, it's important to me.
Can I know me
Uh-huh.
are the who are still but me just a say, look at this. I talk about it all the time, even on my YouTube channel. Hurting people hurt people. People who do
Yep.
not know, people who are not validated don't know how to give validation.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
sometimes too, when I look around me and I don't get that validation from others, yeah, the human part is going to come out. I'm going to feel hurt and disappointed and all. And I have to try to be my own motivator and all of that. But sometimes, as we say, we really need people in our lives for that. And no matter how secure we look and we sound and we feel, it is important.
Yep.
But back to the point, no matter how important we feel, people, we have to be our own. We have to be our own motivator, but there is this part of us. And remember, in the beginning, going back to Genesis, God breathed inside of us and we became a living soul. You understand? So a part of God is in us. And so therefore, if God, if there is validation when it comes on to God, as us as his creation, we need validation as well. And so, as you rightly say, we are going to need validation from persons who we deem important. For example, you're at work and you are working so hard, just got this position and you are
Uh-huh.
working so hard.
Mm-hmm.
If your coworker come to you and say you're doing a good job, it is not as weighty if your boss comes to you and tell you you're doing a good
Yep.
job,
Yep. Yep.
because
Believe
is
you
the boss
me. Yep.
paying you, is the boss whatever, he can fire you and hire you, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
so therefore your co-workers compliment or validation doesn't have much weight. And you spoke about the spouse, and there is parents as well, and in general persons who are important to us, but there is room
Friends.
for validation.
Friends.
Of course, friends are
Because
important.
because
Mm-hmm.
for me, if it is that I don't feel, as I said, I expect it from people who are important to me. No, if it is that me and one of them are friends and something has happened, whether in their life or not, me love create excitement. So if something happen in one of my friends' life and them tell me I gonna be happy or whatever. Now, if something
Exactly.
happen in my life and me tell a friend and the friend is gonna be, oh, okay, I'm not happy. Me, I go start no question. What is
Mm-hmm.
happening? Why can't you be happy for me? I'm gonna tell you, I have shortcomings because there are times when I will ask, times when I won't ask. And as you said earlier, I'll start withdrawing from the person because why is it that you can't be happy for me and
Mm-hmm.
withdraw from me and give me that validation, make me feel good about myself? Why is it that you can't give me that? But I'm giving that to you. So it's for everybody where it is concerned, with a friend, with a family, whatever it is. And people who always talk about you know sometimes parents don't know. I feel that that is old news, that is stale news. We're living in a world where people need to learn how to do things. I don't believe in friends don't know how to, and I personally don't believe in it, because we're living in an age where we make time and do things that we need to do when it's a time that's needed to be done. So if it is that
Okay.
um,
Can I try and remember your point? But I lived in a household that did not validate. I lived in a household that criticized. More negative criticism was there more than validation. That's the environment I grew up in. And I tell you that I see the pattern, but because of education and because of other and because of other areas of socialization, why I did not, what I say now, follow that trend in my family. They are good people, to be honest, and they mean you very well. Give you an example. I never appreciated cooking while growing up. It was since I got older and moved out on my own, and I started doing it more, and I started cooking for people. I started to appreciate the heart of cooking.
Mm.
I never. You know why? Because if you cook the rice and peas and you're putting the rice in the water before it start boil. For my mother, it's wrong. You have to
Mm.
do it the exact way. And even when time you cook it, your way or your way, and it not taste like oh it's supposed to taste. She's going to tell you say it don't taste good. But may I tell you, say so when it tastes good, you're not here say it tastes good. And that's my
Mm.
loving mother. You understand? So yes, I learned to cook and all of that, but I hated it, and it was because of the criticism that I got. And there are different areas as well. So what if I was only exposed to an environment like that and not exposed to other environments that would have kind of nurtured me in another way? One of those persons who just always criticize people negatively and always just tear down people. So I understand
Jade.
your point, Jade, that we
Mm-hmm.
are living in a society that is more informed, and so there is really no excuse. But at the end of the day, those who are informed, we have to pardon other person's ignorance and not be affected by other person's ignorance.
You know why I made that point. I made this point. I made that point because here what you
Mm-hmm.
grew up. You grow up in not even you. Somebody. I know persons who grew up in the ghetto area or the garrison area. Let me use that term. I know persons who have grown up in the garrison area, and that's all they know. But they have to come out of the garrison area, right? So they come out of the garrison area to go to school. They come out of the
Mm-hmm.
garrison area to go to church. They're out of that area at a particular time, whether it is for 3 hours or 2 hours, and they have now learned or seen a new or a different way of doing things. They know in their right mind is going to the well. Person should look at it and say, but this is better than what is it that's happening at home? Or, probably that's not the way how that should be done. Or, because at a point we now know right from wrong. At a point we know what is supposed to be done and what is not supposed to be done. We know that bullying or criticizing or putting down people makes somebody feel bad because we don't want nobody to do it to us. We may do it also because that's what we were taught. But when we come out of that setting, I am sure we have gone to many other places to learn or to relearn, or you have to relearn something. It's as if somebody see their parents growing up in a bad marriage and the man always a beat the woman or the woman a beat the man. Let's say the woman a beat the man all the time in the marriage. And you grow up and seeing that. You are now you are as a man or as a woman, you're gonna say, you know what, when I grow up, I'm not gonna grow up to be beating nobody because you know say it wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
just like how I have been in a situation before where I have been the one to go to that household and start saying love you. And everybody was looking at me weird because them not understand. Oh, me coming and talk about love you and I hook up people. And I was kind of how
I
that
did
work.
that to my family.
So till
I
so
did that.
till so till at a point the persons know in that household was doing it. And they were saying because they never experienced it, no, that they have seen something different. They realized that there was something missing. And I'm saying, if it is that we are not validated at home and we go out and somebody say, oh, that looks nice or whatever, we are now going to be attracted or drawn to whomever it is now that validates us out there, because we're not getting it at home. So we know that something is wrong. So that's why I was saying, I
Mm-hmm.
don't excuse the thing of, oh, when we never grow up. So there's a lot of things I probably never grew up and learn, but growing out in the world, I had to learn it
Mm-hmm.
just like how you never grew up in being a counselor. You didn't. You had to go out there and start counseling and being on the field and learning how things are to make a change and maybe how things were, how you used to practice things previously. You don't do it like that anymore because of now what you have been brought to, the dynamics now that you have seen. So you have changed your perspective on how you see things and how you do things because of what you have now been exposed to. So you now know that criticism is not something that is good. You must validate and not criticize. You must do those things right now. So no, you have now relearned a different way of life that is good. you can't normally just go and impact everybody because not everybody is adapt to change. Not everybody likes change, even if them knowing of them are say it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody
Mm-hmm.
is adapted or wants to get that change, even if they're trying. Some people is just indebted in them. Yeah, it wrong, but they don't want to change. We're not talking about those persons. We're talking about persons who want the change and actually go out and see the dynamics. We can't say we want to be in relationship or have friends. There is nobody who wants to be friends with anybody who just continue criticizing them.
That's
I've
true.
always
Mm-hmm.
heard people say, "Me get that at home, me not coming here for that already." So just like how you say, people don't want to stay home, children don't want to go home, husbands or wife don't want to go home. It's just the same thing because that's an environment that they're being put down and criticized and they're not being loved, they're not being validated. But when they come out, somebody else is doing it there. This is what leads to bad marriages. This is what leads children growing up with anger and resentment. This is what leads to people not having or trusting friends. This is what leads to, oh, I want to be by myself. It's because what we are used to sometimes and we go out and say is something totally different, and sometimes people don't know to adapt to it. And even if they know to adapt to it, when they're adapting and they're going back to the space that they're comfortable in, may I talk too much, sorry, when they're used to going back to the space that they're comfortable in, it is an
Mm-hmm.
awkward situation for them. So some people, brother, let me stay by myself or whatever. But that's what I say. That's why I say I don't give persons the, oh well, I saw your girl, let me leave it alone. No, because them can't leave from where they are to go to somewhere else and behave that way. They know. I bet if you take them, whoever it is, that's always criticizing. You take them and you carry them to some London, whatever. They start probably to behave differently because they know that they have to make a change in how they behave, in how they do things. People know, but people don't want to change. That is where it is.
There is, I understand where what you're saying, and I agree to a certain extent. I can't oppose the host, you know, when you fling me off of your program. But I say this, that there is a difference between adaptation and change. Adapting to an environment doesn't necessarily mean change. So even though someone is angry and you go into a relationship always being angry, you're go into a relationship and you know the anger is you coming out, your partner talk about it, you will adapt to that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that outside of the presence of your partner mean that you have actually learned to control your anger and have gotten over that particular issue. If you know what I mean. Maybe anger is not a good example to use, but I'm just saying, as stubborn person, for example, those you understand that some things are personality traits. These are things that you are born with, and our personality is developed from, say, from birth to 7 years old. You can't really change that person. There are going to be bits of changes and adjustments as you grow and as you experience. But I strongly believe that persons adapt, and they are not necessarily changes that are occurring in that person's life. Put them back in the situation where they're coming from, and then turn right back to what
But
they're
that,
what they're used
that's
to.
what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. If you take somebody from a certain situation and put them in a bigger situation, they will adapt to that change. I've seen it before. But when you go back, then behave the same way. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can always teach people. Everybody's teachable. People can learn to validate. That's the basic point of it. Because if it
Okay,
is
so I
that,
guess are saying the same. What are the challenge and language? Wait, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. We are talking about Jamaica here, right? So now. Let me tell you something, man.
uh-huh.
It's a language thing. Me nah tell no lie. You understand? Yes, you know, so Jamaican, the patois is just rough and crass and everything. Let me tell you something, man. It's a language. You ever hear a man yet a try to be nice? English him a go talking when him a try to be nice. When a man a pray, the normal Jamaican a pray, you hear him pray in a patois? English.
Yes,
Let me
yep,
tell you something,
yep.
man. It is
Yep.
to me, language is a part of it. Why you will find some Jamaicans not validating because they have to go change to English.
Yep.
I
Yep.
accept you. You are doing very well. No, man. Yeah, man, youth. Yeah, man, youth. You're going good, man. Yes, youth. What you mean? You understand me? So I believe that language is a thing. Mm-hmm.
It is a thing. I agree on that. What I want to know is, Cap, why we are going and going. What I want to know is, how is it
Mm-hmm.
that we can let go of the need of validation? And I'm not talking about letting it go totally because we need it, but the dependency that we are yearning, or people yearn from others,
Mm-hmm.
to be validated. How is it that we can deal with that?
Okay. So I think it is safe to say that it is very unhealthy, to strive of persons validating you. And so first you have to examine why you need validation in this area so much. Why is it important for my boss to validate me when it comes onto my work? Why is it important for my spouse every time I cook his meal for him to tell me if it is good? Why is it do I need my friend to tell me that I am doing well in this particular area? And so you examine yourself so you can become more self-aware. And I believe that when we are more self-aware, we'll be able to address the issues. Secondly, try and work on, because it can be a matter of self-esteem. And so you have to develop this whole thing of celebrating you. Not
Mm,
everyone will celebrate your victories. And so you have to learn to celebrate your victories on your own. And that is it.
mm-hmm,
Um, say, Jade, you are married. It is a
mm-hmm,
possibility that at that point, when you when you have a big burst in something, that your husband is unable to celebrate with you at that particular time. You know
mm-hmm,
what I mean? And so, as persons wanting this validation, we have to be cognizant that others around us may not be able to celebrate with us at the time when we need them. And this is
mm,
just a part of life. That
mm-hmm,
don't mean that you are not going to continue to be that good wife because he didn't celebrate with you. Celebration can be delayed at some point in time, you know. So not everyone will celebrate with you. And so you have to know to celebrate your own small victories. Um, Thirdly, try to work on you. Did I say that? Try to work on your self-esteem. You know, um, do little incentives when you do something good. Celebrate yourself. Positive self-talk is very important. Talk to yourself. Denesha, you are doing a very good job. Continue to do it. You are touching many lives. Others out there, they might not tell you, but Denesha, what you are doing, you are impacting many lives. Continue to do it. Denesha, you are a good woman of God. Denesha, you're this. Denesha, just do it. One of the things that sometimes tend to help me is that I will write, like, on sticky notes, little things, like, I am born with a purpose. And I will, before I go to my bed, I will look at it and I go to sleep. I get up in the morning, purpose is waking up. I am going to make a difference. And I write certain things. And so it is important, for us to build ourselves and not necessarily depend on others to validate us. So those
mm-hmm,
are the little points in letting go of needing validation from other persons.
mm. That those are some very good points.
Thank
I
you.
think the last question that I had to ask you, I think we already had touched on those things. What I want you to do now is to just encourage persons out there, those who are not being validated and think that because they're not validated, it means that they're not enough. Okay.
We are all different and unique. God made us differently. Jeremiah spoke about it, that before we were formed in our mother's womb, He knew us, He predestined us. And so, therefore, looking at that scripture, we are all born with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important for us to see ourselves through the mirror of how God sees us. And in order to do this, we have to go back to scripture, knowing that we were made in his likeness and in his image. Everything
Mm-hmm.
about us is perfect. And so all we need to do is to continue to work on us, not through the eyes of others or others see us, not through the eyes of how other persons validate us, but we need, once God has stamped his approval on us and what we are doing, that's all we really need to depend on.
Yes.
Yes, we look on others around us for validation, which is important. But if we don't get it, let us continue to look towards that mark, which is fulfilling our purpose and pleasing God. As I always say back in the days when we dance for one audience, and that is dance for God.
Amen. I think she has a dance for you, man. Okay, Miss Denisha, it was so good having you on the program. It was a great conversation. And I mean, I'm hoping everyone out there listening enjoyed it as much as we did because I laughed today. And sometimes there are heavy topics that you can speak about and still finding some light sides and stuff. And that is what we
Yeah.
try to do here on the Unfiltered by Jade. So, guys, thank you again for listening, and we'll definitely be out again next Tuesday. So listen out for the Unfiltered by Jade.